Welcome to a special edition of Compas FC. Obviously, like we let you guys know on Wednesday night, if you guys already watched Compas FC, thank you guys for checking that out. Special edition because, like we said in the past, Europa League, man, it's got some playmakers in it. You got Arsenal, you got Man United, but guys, Eddie Rodriguez, J.C. Cervantes, is Barcelona still in it? Eddie, is Barca still in it?
Efecto Xavi, boys. Efecto Xavi.
JC, they in it?
Barca? Where's Xavi?
Barca?
They need another loan from Man City.
They get a loan.
Obviously, the second leg of Manchester United and Barcelona happened on Thursday afternoon, and Manchester United handled business, and they ended up eliminating Barcelona on aggregate 4-3. The game ended up finishing 2-1. First half a little shaky by both teams. A weird penalty called on Bruno by the referee. They called the PK. Lewandowski goes in. He hits the penalty. Then in the second half, Erik Ten Hag made some very good substitutions. They changed the game for United. He put in Antony, the speed. Then he put in Garnacho. That speed was way too much for Barcelona's defense to handle, and they end up finishing off the game and winning 4-3 on aggregate. And honestly, they send Barcelona packing. Before I asked the guys about the game, here's a little bit of the atmosphere from BT Sport on from Manchester United as soon as the whistle blew.
Shout out. Manchester night for United. They are into the last 16 in the Europa League. What a comeback in the second half. Barca were in control with Lewandowski's penalty, but Fred, who put in a sterling display, got an equaliser, and a wonderful strike from Antony, the substitute, wins it for Manchester United. Some night here, sometime.
Some night, sometime. Eddie, make sense for us. What happened on Thursday?
Well, boys, is exactly what I predicted, that Manchester United were gonna, beat Barcelona at Old Trafford. But let's be real, the first half was kind of shaky for Man United. They're not producing anything. The link-up play wasn't there. Barcelona were basically on top of the whole first half. Weak penalty in my opinion. Super weak decision. Their arms looked like they're tangled, but if you look a lot closer, it's not even close. Whoever that player was went down way too easily. Those are not typical calls that you would see in a big game like this. Unfortunately, De Gea got a hand to it but couldn't stop it. But that's just due to Lewandowski's technique and how he shoots penalties. That stutter step really messed with him. But after that, like you mentioned, hey, after that, Ten Hag, I don't know what he told the boys in the dressing room, but they came out within 3 minutes. They scored the goal, and then it looked like it was just Man United from there. Barcelona couldn't cope with the pressure. I think the atmosphere was electric, like it's been all season. Fred had a great game. Bruno was nonstop running all 90 minutes. But I think it was a bold call for Ten Hag to bring in Antony, who hasn't really gotten any playing time as of late. Weghorst, unfortunately, couldn't link up the play in the first half, so that's why he came off. But yeah, it's great to see Sancho playing great. Luke Shaw being Luke Shaw, Shawberto Carlos, as we call him. Great game from Varane and Lisandro. They didn't get little when the moment came. And I think the biggest question mark for us going into Sunday, because Man United play a final on Sunday, is if Casemiro is going to start, because it did look towards the end that Casemiro was injured. So, that's a big concern if you're a Manchester United fan. But overall, great game, great atmosphere, and the Europa League this season, wow, it's kind of crazy.
It really is. JC, can you talk about the substitutions that Erik Ten Hag made in the second half and how they changed the game?
Definitely a masterclass. Definitely, a lot to take away. The first one, when you see Wan-Bissaka come off for Dalot, just after a play where Wan-Bissaka just jetted up that right wing. subbed on Antony, and it's almost like he was itching to sub him on. He didn't want to start him, but he called on all these guys, and they all answered. Garnacho came off the bench, lights out. Rashford couldn't do anything on the left wing the whole game. Sancho was there producing a little bit, and he just for me the biggest game changer was just Dalot and Antony on that right side. Just to put a lot of pressure, pinned him back, and then once Bissaka made that run, he saw it, recognized it right away. Garnacho was just running amok, looking like little Romeo Beckham out there with that blonde hair he decided to put on, trying to get exposure. But now everything was execution. They definitely were shaky the first half, like Eddie said. But you just calmed the nerves. It was bound to happen. It's the biggest game month to date for the team in a long time. But those subs, you can't talk enough. You can't say enough good things about him. Weghorst came off. He's been playing every single minute, I think, for the team, starting just about every game. So I really see nothing wrong with that one there. But the Casemiro one is definitely alarming. What are you going to do come Sunday? But just so many things to take away. But I think just that right side subs were just something else, man. They just applied a whole lot of pressure, and Barca really didn't have an answer for it. They spent as much as they could in this last offseason, but they really didn't have the answers for it at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, completely agree. This is what Erik Ten Hag, he was asked by BT Sport after the game about the substitutions, and this is what he had to say.
And I'm just saying to you off air that substitutes this year seem to have made a massive impact on your team. That must be something you're really pleased with.
Yeah, that was one of the parts, of course, from our game plan. We know we can, if you can bring Antony, if you can bring Garnacho, you get in the wide areas, you get speed, you get running behind, you get dribbles, and you get belief. They are so brave, both. They don't dare. They don't fear anyone, and especially when you go to Stratford End, they just take players on. They're running behind, and I think that gives a push to the whole team. Yeah.
It's interesting because obviously he mentions it that these guys aren't scared. It seems like Erik has really done a really good job of showing these guys, hey, there's no moment too big for you guys. You guys can go in there. He set the mentality because some of these guys are young. They've never been up there. They've never been on a Thursday night against Barcelona.
And that's what's expected when you put on the Manchester United shirt.
Exactly,
that's what's expected, and that's what the coach is expecting.
It feels like he's brought that, like he's made the crest in. I'm not trying to diminish what other managers have done, but it seems like he's made the crest important again in a sense. Like he's like, hey, when you're out there, you're the Red Devils.
He's made it a privilege to represent Manchester United.
That's a bullseye. That's more of a bullseye. I think
that's what players feel now, and they feel, and you can see it through Bruno, and that's why Bruno got the captain armband, because honestly, no one solidifies more what it means to be a Manchester United player at the moment, but Bruno Fernandes. What a player, honestly. Super disrespectful.
Nobody other than Bruno.
Someone there forgetting his name.
What Eddie's, you want to retract that statement? I'll give you a chance.
What Eddie's talking about is Xavi before the game. This is a direct quote from Xavi. He said they were asking him about the game and everything, and he said he is very good. I like him a lot. He's talking about Erik Ten Hag. He is very good. I like him a lot. He has built a team and is getting the best out of all his players. That speaks well of him. Tactically, he's very good, and he handles the dressing room very well. He is getting all the talent out of his players. You see Sancho, Rashford, the Portuguese guy, and you look at how Fred is playing. The Portuguese guy, well, obviously that's Bruno Fernandes, but he called him the Portuguese guy, and obviously Manchester United fans did not take kind to that, and they let Xavi know about it, and you've been seeing it, but obviously, J.C., what did you make of that?
Hey, it's nothing but fuel in the fire. Nothing Bruno can't handle and can't digest. It was a captain's performance. That's our guy. That's going to be our guy from here on out. He definitely deserves the crest. The captain armband. He represents the crest well, and that's just United through and through. Work. Don't stop running. Don't stop fighting. He was under everybody's skin. He knew exactly what needed to happen, and he knew exactly how to tear apart that midfield. He was taking it to De Jong. Never any plays off. The penalty, I guess, I don't mind it being called a pen. If they were to foul my team that way, I'm going to be yelling up and down for that pen. So it is what it is. But if a goalkeeper gets a hand on the ball, you got to stop it. Half-step shot. Don't want to see it. It's got to come out. If you get if Courtois gets a hand on the ball like that, it's coming out, bro. That's world class, and that's that.
I think the bigger
Bruno,
question is,
man of the
should his
match.
stutter step still be allowed
Bruno's
when you're taking a penalty?
Bruno's
I don't
been
think it should.
overlooked. Oh, don't start, please. But Bruno's been overlooked for far too long, and this is coming out party. Finally going to get that respect he deserves because he's been running the show for a long time without the recognition he deserves. And a lot of players are benefiting it. Now it's time to shine. You know, the captain's here. Him and Casemiro linked up. It's more trouble to come.
Speaking of what J.C. just said about Bruno and him being the guy, Bruno Fernandes has 26 goals plus assists in 34 appearances in UEFA competitions for Manchester United.
Crazy.
He has a goal contribution every 101 minutes in Europe. Obviously, they're like, this is the Portuguese guy. Another interesting stat, Bruno Fernandes has played 6 games as a right winger this season. He has 2 goals and 4 assists. Man U have not lost any of those games. And that includes games against Man City and Barcelona. So, and then obviously this other stat, Bruno Fernandes, since 2017 and now, 16 goals, 13 assists, 24-16, 25-18, 28-18, 13-15, 11-8 is what he's on right now. So definitely you can feel the impact from Bruno. But you know what, guys? Bruno didn't take, he was like, instead of saying, oh, yeah, it's me or it's this or it's the team, he gave credit to Manchester United, the fans. Here's what he had to say after the match about the atmosphere at Old Trafford.
And what a comeback. Yeah, the belief of the team is always there. The belief by the fans on us is amazing. They pushed us through difficult moments this season that we have made great comebacks. The club is made also by that. We know in the past we have done a lot like these results, so it's a great result for us, obviously. But now we have a big match on Sunday.
Of course. Fred, you hear your name being chanted by the United fans behind you. What does that mean for you?
It's very good to hear my name for the fans, but good game. We thought today, so we need to keep going. We have a final Sunday, and we need to rest, and now change their mind to go to the final.
So obviously you guys could hear Bruno, like chance of Bruno, chance of Fred, crazy atmosphere. Eddie, what did you make about how? Because I mean, you and I watched the game together, but Old Trafford was a little quiet in the first half. Second half, they erupted.
It takes me back to when Ole came in here and he brought back that belief into like the fan base, because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, obviously a club legend. They went on an incredible run with him where they got to Europa League final. They went several games unbeaten away from home. And then Ralph Ragnick takes over, and then it just drains the atmosphere. It was nothing the same. And then today you see that belief again where Old Trafford's bouncing. You hear it from time to time, attack, attack, attack. Cheering on the players, Bruno getting into the action. Again, it feels like Manchester United, and it feels like Old Trafford again, where the atmosphere is electric. It's deafening, and it's intimidating for opponents to come here now and play.
JC, but doesn't it feel different? I mean, I remember that era with oh my god, I just forgot his name. Who did you say Ole? But doesn't it feel different with Ten Hag? Doesn't it feel like he's kind of brought it back? Kind of like it kind of feels like, I mean, in a sense, to compare to football, like the Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin, when he came in and he kind of kept, like, it kind of felt like it was a changing of a guard, like when it went from Fergie now to maybe Ole, like, or to Ten Hag. Does it kind of feel like Ten Hag is like does it feel different to you or no?
Yeah, just because of the style of play, the mindset and the culture they were both trying to bring in, where you're just kind of, representing the crest to the best of your ability and just playing the absolute best football you could play as an individual and represent and do your part to win the game. So that's where you'll see those similarities where they both really wanted to maximize on players' potential and help them reach that potential. But the difference between the Ole and the Ten Hag is obviously going to be the tenure and the experience. Ten Hag's been coaching a little bit longer than Ole has. The thing with Ole is that he had the club respect before being a legend. Ten Hag's got that respect just because of his resume and the way he's been able to kind of develop teams and develop players. And nothing against Ole, but it's just at the end of the day, the tactics are a lot different. And when your tactics give you the results you're getting, player buy-in is crazy crucial when it comes to these kind of games. And when you put trust in a guy like that to really just move a piece, to get subbed off and never get mad. If you look at every time he subs a player off, it's always an understanding, and everybody's ever frustrated to get subbed off for the same reason, because they trust and they believe in the coach's mentality and tactics. So I think he's even gone as far as benching players just because of disciplinary issues. So he's never really doesn't care for price tags, doesn't care what your name is, how much clout you got on Instagram or whatever it is. But if he needs to discipline you, he's going to discipline you. And he's just doing it right, because the gaffer has to be the end all be all. What do they say? He's the judge and the
buck stops here.
He's the judge, jury. There you go, and the executioner. That's Erik Ten Hag for you.
Leave Cristiano out of this. He's done.
Oh no, that was what's in it? Piers Morgan. We didn't thank him for that.
No, I know. I mean, obviously, he has. I mean, he let Sancho go out and do his thing, get himself back. He's let other guys kind of do that, but obviously, Eddie, for Antony, like you said, he hadn't played. He gets thrusted into this opportunity, and obviously, it's been a roller coaster for Antony this season. Like, you see the flashes, but then you see the mistakes. You see I think it was at Man City, the one where I think he started at right wing and he just didn't really produce all that well.
Right.
And in this game, he gets thrown in and boom, like you see the boom, he scores, brings everybody out of their seats. But just, can you talk about the mentality of Antony to be able to come in and produce, even though he hadn't played all that much in the last few matchups?
You have to be mentally strong to get put into a situation like this, where you haven't had that continuity that maybe like a Rashford has, or even a Garnacho has played a little bit more than Antony, right?
That's better.
And to get there and get that goal, but show that composure when you scored the goal, I think that's crazy. It's that similar mentality that me and you were discussing earlier today, where Vinicius has something similar, where his first season at Madrid, he was getting booed everywhere. The Madrid faithful had no faith in him, but the guy just kept pushing, and that's what Antony's doing. He's pushing. Any game time he gets, he needs to capitalize on it and get back into Ten Hag's good graces as far as playing him as a starter. But again, he's a wild card, so he can give you games like this where he was running all on that right side and he couldn't be stopped. But then he can give you other games where he looks flat. So it's just about consistency for him. But it's good to see that, great to come in and be composed and score the goal and link the play and track back. Because if one thing we know about Ten Hag, if you're not tracking back and if you're not being consistent to his game plan and the tactics, he's pulling you out, like J.C. said. He doesn't care who you are. He doesn't care if you're Rashford, doesn't care if you're Bruno, doesn't care. You're going to win his way. And if you're not trying to win that way and play his game, which is the team's game, he'll take you out. He don't care.
JC, when now obviously you have the celebration, you eliminate Barcelona, but now it's like, hey, quick, like the 24-hour rule, you have to now switch it because on Sunday you play against Newcastle in the Carabao Cup final. Of course, we all know the great Pep Guardiola has said
the Pep Cup,
the Carabao Cup does not matter anymore.
Not like 8.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't matter. But obviously it matters for Manchester United. They're still in all 4 tournaments this season. They could come away with 4 trophies, which would be incredible for them to be in. But they're still in all 4 tournaments. JC, just talk about the mentality, having to switch it and now focus on Newcastle, even though you just had a big win against Barcelona.
Honestly, I really see it more of a glass half full type game, where this is the perfect match and the perfect opportunity for everybody to see what it means to have such an important game at home. It's definitely the ultimate tune-up for them, because it is the biggest game month to date today. And essentially, you're ready for Sunday. I think a lot of players showed a lot of grit to go down 1-0 and then to just bag 2 goals in the way you did in quick succession, literally starting the second half, you come in, bag a goal, a couple minutes later, bag another one, and now you got a team on the ropes who arguably in some ways is a little bit better than a Newcastle. I mean, Barcelona, top of their league, right? Coming in a great moment, full head of steam. Say what you want, about who's playing with them or for them and all the financial fair play. The team's there. In some instances, it was their game to lose. They scored first, they got it, blew it, couldn't capitalize. I think it's the perfect tune-up game for Sunday. And as long as the team doesn't, fall into the good old trap game, where you beat a good team and then you go and play another team for a final and then you just get punched in the nose and don't know what to do. So I think Ten Hag's definitely the right guy to keep everybody grounded. And I think it was the perfect setup for a final come Sunday.
Obviously, now we have to flip over to the other side. Like you mentioned it, Barcelona's first in La Liga, but it feels like in everything else. I mean, I know they won that Saudi Cup that they have in January out in Saudi Arabia. Obviously, they won that cup, but other than that, they've gotten kicked out of Champions League. They're in Europa. They get now eliminated by Manchester United. Eddie, does this kind of feel like it's a little bit of a letdown for Barcelona? Like, do you feel like in a sense like they're a little bit fraud-like, especially when it comes to...
I hate to say I'm a lock, but what did I say? Dembele goes down.
What do you say, J.C.?
And down goes Barcelona. Unfortunately,
we said like Paris,
and we don't really rate Dembele, right? We weren't rating Dembele. And what happened? Dembele goes down. Xavi has a light bench, doesn't have players you can rely on. Ferran Torres, horrible. Ansu Fati, I thought he was supposed to be the new Messi. I'm still waiting for that. Who is he turned to? Marcos Alonso? Come on, man. Like, for sure, this Barcelona team is all smoke, in my opinion. Yeah, they're top of the league right now, but that's not gonna last. They don't have the squad depth to maintain the first place in La Liga. I'm pretty confident that Real Madrid will win La Liga this season. It just comes down to one. I don't think the manager you have is the manager you need to get over, these things, these hurdles. I would say, staying first in the league and staying consistent in throughout cup competitions like the Europa League. It's, to me, Xavi's almost like another Ole, where it's just vibes and just go out there and play. So
yeah, no, and I mean they haven't really faced adversity this year, Barcelona. Adversity isn't getting kicked out of Champions and getting kicked out here. Adversity is
look. You can take, if you're a Barca fan, there's a couple positives. One, Frankie de Jong is playing like Frankie de Jong. Looks like he's enjoying himself. Sergio Busquets has Frankie de Jong doing all the dirty work for him, so he's looking like he's okay. Kessie's healthy again, and Ter Stegen's hairline's back. So
it's crazy the way that Frankie de Jong's all over the field.
Got going on over there.
Well, that's the thing too. I mean,
at one point you see him playing center back, and at the next point you see him at the top of the other side making plays and getting assists and everything. Or
you do have some corner pieces to make a team, right? You have a Frankie de Jong who's been wanting to stay,
but they're saying that Barcelona still has to give up
at the back.
They're saying that Barcelona still has to give up $200 million.
Sturgeon's still a pretty good goalkeeper.
Season.
Lewandowski might have another 2 years in him. They still have some pieces there to like try to build a team in.
But then they're saying that they have to give up $200 million or 200 million euros.
Well, that's the problem. They just don't have it. They don't have it. They don't have it.
That's what you get for paying Messi, though.
I mean, if you want to look for a silver lining, if you're a Barca fan, for sure, Frankie de Jong. But then you also have the same question: is why is he not playing more often? If he's giving you these kind of performances, and he's giving you this quality, and you literally fought United, and you extorted Frankie de Jong to stay, and you don't play him up until today, and you see the quality he gives you. I mean, just think about the quality he could give you with a Gavi, with a Pedri.
But that's the problem.
By these guys, and you want to refresh the midfield.
They think that Gavi and Pedri are the new.
And that's fine, but you gotta have that holding mid.
Get the most out of them,
and you gotta have that holding mid. And there's no holding mid I would rather have that's gonna play make. That's a playmaking holding mid, because there's different kind of holding mids than Frankie de Jong. If you look at that guy, and realistically speaking, I mean, if you're doesn't matter the team, and you're giving me a quality player, because they're quality, like Gavi, like Pedri, and Frankie de Jong to start at midfield, why would I say no? Why would I not start them? Why am I not starting the three of them together? Because I'm best friends with Busquets and I have to play? I'm like, no, bro. Are you trying to play to win the game, or are you trying to play favorites and play to win? Using friends and trying to be cool with everybody. Like I feel like Xavi, that's going to be his downfall at the end of the day. Is he ready to make the transition and be a coach and really do what he has to do and really just discipline who he has to discipline the way other gaffers have done? I don't think so. I think that's going to be the biggest.
He's giving me COVID vibes.
And it's the hardest transition to make when it comes to becoming a manager that you were a club, you played in the club for, because when the locker room respects you and sees you a certain way and you carry yourself a certain way, he's got the respect of the team. He's won it all. That's his boyhood club, one club player, blah, whatever you want to call him. But you got to make that transition if you're Xavi. You got to be a hard ass. You got to discipline when you got to discipline, and you got to play the right guys to win the game. If you would have started, the first leg with John, Gavi, Pedri, you're looking at a different second leg. And I'm telling you that right now as a United fan. But hey, he did it to himself. Here we are winning the game. They didn't have the squad depth. It's an injury-prone team. Dembele out, Barca out. And they better go all hands on deck for that La Liga, because that's going to be the only silver lining they have left this season. And it's going to slowly, quickly run away from their grasp if they don't patch it together in that midfield, because it's going to be a big old snowball, and Madrid's going to be there just waiting to hoist another league trophy.
Let me ask you, I mean, maybe this is crazy thinking by me, Eddie. If they come down and they hammer Man City, and Pep is like, you know what, F this, and he turns and he goes, Barcelona, I want to come back and manage you guys. Do you think they would? You don't think he'd ever go back?
They don't have $1 billion. They don't have $1 billion to spend, and they're not winning trebles like when he went to Bayern. So that guy's no. Man, that's the problem. You see, everybody wants to put Xavi.
I don't ever remember.
Pep at this pedestal.
Pep Guardiola
no, I'm not trying to. I'm just saying. I think
he inherited that Barcelona team.
Yeah, no, he did. But I thought
he inherited a Bayern team.
I think he'd pull a Pete Carroll, where it's like, hey, everything's burning behind me. Let me dip out and go. Because remember, USC got the death penalty after all that incident. Pete Carroll decided to tuck tail and go up to Seattle. So that's why I was wondering, like, would Pep do the same thing? Like, hey, everything's burning behind me. Let me go somewhere else.
No, it's far worse at Barcelona than it is at City right now. So I wouldn't want to go coach that Barcelona team knowing that I can't get the right personnel in, and the politics that surround that club, right? Like it's just too much, man. It's just too much. Too many distractions. Too many things that take away from the sporting aspect of,
Eddie,
of being there and being a manager.
Politics. What could possibly be happening at Barcelona right now?
Well, let's find out, right? Let's see what Iker had to say about that.
Espera un segundo. Una cosa, que un equipo esté 2 años sin recibir un penalti en contra o una roja, ¿era eso? Es increíble en el fútbol, máquina. ¿Qué pasa? ¿Que no llegan a vuestro área o que con el tiki-taka ese no llegaba ya a vuestro área? Porque no llegábamos, ¿eh?
So obviously the video I just played is so obviously everybody knows that ever since PK has gotten salpiqued by Shakira, he has this new like series show where they come out and they play soccer and they do all kinds of stuff. It's some weird show that he has now, but he had Iker Casillas on, who's obviously a legend at Real Madrid. And they were discussing the financial fair play that, the reports that came out that Barcelona was paying referees, and PK's like, oh my God, that's all nothing. It's all smoke and mirrors. And Iker goes, smoke and mirrors. He's like, you guys got no red cards and no penalties against you guys for 2 seasons. He's like, you guys couldn't move the ball up the field. What, tiki-taka wasn't enough? And PK's stunned, and he's kind of like, So
next
obviously,
and then same show,
and that's not the only video. There's other videos where he gets like PK does not know how to respond.
Iker goes in and says, "Hey, you know what's embarrassing? Not me losing the Clásico 5-1 or whatever it was. Is that game in Chelsea where you guys should have lost, but because of questionable calls made by the referees, You guys ended up winning the Champions League that season.
There's
talk about
there's a
embarrassing. That's embarrassing.
There's a scene where PK's arm is all the way out here, and the ball hits him right in the forearm, and they didn't call it. And you're like, and PK's like, no, that was just the referee doing his job. Like this, that, like he's the one that missed it. It's like, no, dude, come on. Like, you know exactly what happened in that Chelsea game. Like, so obviously ex-Barcelona players are now tucking tail and running and trying to kind of stay away from all that. Cause I mean, we all know, like, get out of here. We've seen enough games.
And it's a tough place to be in, but in a way, respect to Xavi for really being there and being the face of it all.
Yeah.
When the club's just burning behind you,
that's just
and there's nonstop reports behind you about, now referee scandals, fair play scandals. You can't buy players, you can't sell players, you can't pay wages. Next is going to be the next move. They're not going to be able to pay players very soon if they're going to have to start cutting ends. You're selling off portions of the club to media conglomerates, and you're doing all these things. Spotify sponsorships are rumored to come in. You're looking for money anywhere and everywhere. And when you're
Xavi, they were allowing people to get married, JC, at the Camp Nou. They were letting people
everything. You can
rent it out and play video games there.
You can rent it out and have an 11v11 with your team if you wanted to bring the boys along.
For
a good old game, and that's
how with the boys.
All of it, have a go about the Camp Nou with the boys, But it's tough and it sucks to see, because with all due respect, Xavi is definitely one of the best midfielders ever to play the game. But he's definitely putting his legacy on the line for a club who really doesn't look to have his back at the moment, and the people up front. And that the sporting director they have in charge is really just doing no favors for Xavi. And Xavi's there taking it on the chin every single day because he loves the club. I respect him for it. But at some point, he's just got to turn heel and just start putting everybody on notice. And the day he does that, you're going to see a transition happen in Barcelona, because everybody comes in with the same mentality for Barcelona. Oh, we're Barca. We're going to play tiki-taka ball, and you're going to respect this game, and we're going to beat you with possession, blah, blah, blah. But as soon as somebody turns heel and starts disciplining the way Rijkaard did people, and when he developed that team to the level it was and handed it over to Pep, it's not going to be any sunshine in Barcelona for a long time.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And that's the crazy part, is that you're seeing exactly what's going on. And it's like, well, what's gonna happen? And literally, this is literally what it feels like is happening at Barcelona, and happened during the pandemic and everything going on. Here we go. This is obviously good film from there.
That's Chelsea.
All you care about.
That's Chelsea. What do you mean? That's top bully in the group chats. Who you guys want? I don't care.
The Twitter chats.
They work for me.
That's top bully. He's loading up a bid for Osimhen right there. I said Osimhen, 100 million.
Yeah, so obviously and I mean that's what I'm talking about. Like it just feels like
Barcelona.
Yeah.
It's anarchy.
So I mean,
It's
and you're right,
anarchy
and you know what, you're right. Xavi deserves, because he, like, literally they needed a manager, and that's why I think they chose Xavi, and they gave him all that money, because they're like, hey, you're gonna have to deal with all these questions. All this stuff is about to come out. We need you to be at the forefront of it and be like, no, we're Barcelona, we're this big club, this and that and that. So definitely, Eddie, any last thoughts on that?
No, I mean, if you're a Barcelona fan, which most Barcelona fans now are just plastic fans, in my opinion.
They're all buying United jerseys now.
No Messi?
Yeah. You better go help your club and buy a piece of the stadium and try to do your part in supporting the transfers, because
get out there.
It's not gonna happen anytime soon. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, no, you guys are completely right. Obviously, Manchester United, like we said, eliminate Barcelona 4-3. Interesting stuff. Now Barcelona really is going to look around and probably try and go for the Copa del Rey and La Liga, but we'll see how they're able to hold it off. Obviously, I want to thank JC and Eddie. A special episode. Obviously, we all got things going on, the bat signals of having to put those to the side to do this. So definitely appreciate that. Guys, don't forget to check out our other episode from Compas FC, where we break down all 4 Champions League games. Also, is a team coming to San Diego And what would that look like? JC, Eddie, and myself, we choose one player that we would love to see the team sign. And then obviously we talk about the federation and Yon de Luis. Obviously, thank you. Him resigning and not putting in his paperwork. So that'll be interesting. So yeah, go check out that episode and go check out everything else on Compas on the Beat Network. This Wednesday we're back. We're back at it after a week off. It was kind of a bye week, so we'll be talking about everything coming up with free agency. A lot of teams that have to get under the cap, and it'll be interesting to see kind of what voodoo and what magic some of these teams do to get underneath the cap. Tampa Bay, Chargers, New Orleans. There's a lot of teams that are way over the cap.
Orleans.
It's going to be interesting. Yeah, New Orleans is over the cap, so it's going to be interesting to see what kind of hoops they try and jump through to get underneath the cap. But and again, check out everything else. We appreciate you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for checking out a special edition of Compas FC, Manchester United versus Barcelona.
Where's Rashford?
Don't forget what?
Where's Rashford? Anybody?
Don't forget.
This guy wants to end it like that. Let this guy know in the comments where Rashford was and he's been all season.
Where's he at?
Don't
Let
forget
him know
to
about
comment.
the hair and the super
Koundé
Saiyan.
couldn't
Let
run
him
because he
know.
had him in
Let
his
him know.
pocket.
Don't forget to comment, subscribe, like. We appreciate you guys so much. Thank you guys so much.
Still looking for
Have a
Rashford.
great weekend. Don't forget, be a compa, tell a compa. Thank you guys.